Okay. The other thing is, there's no boss to this game. And there are bosses in Fallout. There aren't that many of them, and in fact, I think a lot of the Fallout games kind of missed the boat on the chance to include various mini-bosses, like the Mole Rat God. You know, not much of a mini-boss, but it was a mini-boss. It was cool. I liked watching the rat run around and talk smack to you. But there are basically no bosses in this game. And, you know, for a setting that allows basically anything to occur because of radioactive mutation, there are shockingly few opportunities used to include some gigantic fucking mutant or like a giant robot to fight. And there are opportunities. They're all over the place. You're telling me, you know, that actually, okay, there is one, that gigantic mutant that you fight in front of the radio station. That was a good fight. Why couldn't we have more of that? I saved all those mini nukes from that game thinking they would come into play later against some gigantic boss. I saved all of these mines. I saved all of these grenades and super weapons thinking I would use them farther on down the line against some gigantic monstrosity, and I didn't. Why couldn't we see more of the giant mutants? Why couldn't we fight some gigantic robot? There were chances we could fight a giant tree. We could have fought that. We could have fought that, you know, that Brotherhood of Steel robot that wanders through? That was like the biggest waste of time. It's like watching somebody play a video game at that point. You're just following this robot, and watching it blow stuff up is kind of cool, but you're thinking, like, why can't I drive the robot? Am I really doing anything to protect this robot from the other characters shooting at it? I didn't really feel like I was doing anything. It was just kind of just, you know, 10 minutes later I followed this robot, and finally I got to play the game again. You know, if we had a chance to fight that giant robot, that might have been a really cool scene. If we had a chance to fight some kind of Cthulhuid horror in the Dunwich building, that might have been cool. Instead, I got this ghoul mask, and all of a sudden half the difficulty of the game is just stripped away. It just seemed like there was a chance for a lot of bosses. The only final boss you fight is Colonel Autumn, and you know what? I killed him in one hit! I shot him in the face with a plasma thrower, and he disintegrated! That's your final boss! You know, that guy talks an awful lot of smack for a guy who's like 8 foot tall in giant steel plate mail with hydraulic joints who could probably tear his head off just by just flicking his finger at him. And he's got a laser pistol. He's like, I'm going to kill you now, boy. And you know, Fallout 2 at least had that gigantic super mutant you had to fight. And he was tough. But, and why can you not play the game once the ending is played out? I never understood that. You take these great pains to construct this gigantic sandbox with tons and tons of quests that are available to you, and then when you finally decide to go through the main storyline, all of a sudden it goes, oh, you're done. Yeah, you could reload and go back, but it just seems like a waste of time when it could just as easily throw you back into the wasteland and say, change will take a long time to occur, so keep doing quests for now, and you can just stop whenever you want. The other Fallout games did this. You could play the game as much as you wanted, finish other quests, you could kill anyone you wanted to, and it was cool that way. So, I guess that's just... everyone is dissatisfied with the ending to Fallout 3, and it didn't have to be that way. I think they really could have, if they'd spent a few more minutes just recording some extra dialogue and putting a little more thought into the ending of that, they could have just made it more sensible, like Fox. Why can't you go in there? There's a lot of radiation. I'm immune, but I'm not that immune. Like, I'd be like, alright, it's bullshit, but alright. Or maybe you could make the control panel through a hallway that's guarded, and Fox is like, I can't get through there, I'm not tough enough. There's robots in there, and I can't fight them. And I was just basically, at that stage, my speech was 100%, and I had put myself in a position where I could talk my way out of anything. I talked the Enclave into blowing itself up. And that was really easy, by the way. Even though my speech was 100%, I was just like, blow yourself up. And the computer's like, I think you're right. That's a good idea. I should really kill myself just because you said so. And I was like, yes, you should. So I even talked the final boss. I fought him just because I wanted to fight something before the end. Even the final boss, I was like, I'm not the Brotherhood of Steel member you're looking for. You should go home now. And he's like, yes, I should go home now. That was the ending. So, I guess that's my recommendation for Fallout 3 is much weaker than it used to be. Just because if you care about the story, you're going to be vastly disappointed. I still think running around the wasteland, bopping around, killing people, doing quests, that's still a lot of fun. But there reaches a point when you have basically everything you need. You have all the weapons, all the armor that you're ever going to want, and you should just tackle the storyline, because unless you care about achievement points, and I don't, there's almost no point in running around, because the story doesn't care, so why should you? Anyway, that's Fallout 3. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and have a happy holidays, everyone who celebrates holidays. Anyway, I'm going to finish up with more Phantasmagoria. There's 2 discs left to that game, and I don't know how much that translates into in game time, but we'll see. I'm thinking there's at least about 60 to 80 more minutes of Phantasmagoria to go, so it's going to be a lot of fun seeing how that plays out. Have a good day, everybody. Goodbye.